Have your seated area there. Start sitting at that front edge. Two sits bones right at the edge of that chair, central pillar, hands resting comfortably, shoulders, elbows sunken. And breathing in through the nose. Hold that full breath. Out through the nose or the mouth. Hold that breath empty. And again, inhale. Just take that about 6, 7, 8 more long, smooth breaths. Remember this idea, stillness is not the absence of movement. Stillness is the absence of any impediment or blockage to that which is flowing and moving. So to experience the rejuvenative, healing qualities, settling qualities of stillness, we're not restricting movement. We're actually allowing for unfettered, unimpeded movement. So breathing is opening us up and exhaling is closing us down. So there's this changing happening. Also, you might find you want to broaden the chest or round the back, or your head wants to adjust, chin up and chin down. You want to shift the weight from one buttock to the other. Maybe you lift a heel or lift the toes, or all the movements that we practice in our formal joint mobilization. You want to have all those in your arsenal while you're doing your seated meditation, so that you're allowing this natural flooding, flowing, changing to be happening. And it's a very interesting sensation because you're experiencing a quality of stillness, of settled ease, while also feeling a freedom of movement at the same time. So those are two seemingly opposite things, stillness and movement, but there's a state where both of those things are present, which is what we're working on in Taoist practice. So now let's actually formally move. Hands back, elbows back, shoulder blades back, chest up, arch the back. Inhaling full, and then exhaling, hands forward, hollow the chest, drop the head, round the back. And again, inhaling. And so see if you can sense this underlying stillness that's present throughout the changing of the shape, the finishing of that movement, and then the transition to the other movement, changing into the arch, holding, and again, right? So there's this stillness that becomes sort of the ground of our awareness, the ground of our body, something we can rest in, rest on. And what's usually happening, not just with folks dealing with Parkinson's, really every human being is slightly or more than slightly suspended or tense or gripped or held at some level. So every time you're doing these movements, just keep thinking of this idea of melting, softening, loosening, dissolving, yielding, right? These are all sort of negative terms. These are all letting go of or losing or dropping something off rather than adding something on. So even if you're learning a new movement, right, you're adding that in a way to your movement arsenal, but the result of that movement is to get rid of something, to loosen up, to dissolve. Now find your middle and go into your twist. Turn and turn. Inhaling middle, exhaling turn. Inhaling middle and exhaling turn. Just continue. Same idea. We're just cleaning the barnacles off. We're polishing the residue, the plaque, that which is extra. Or you could think of it also as like your clothing in your laundry that's been left in an awkward position, crumpled up, and it's got a bunch of folds and creases in it. And so then when you shake that out and you get rid of the creases, you sort of iron it out. You didn't really get rid of anything, maybe, nor did you add anything. You just rearranged the fibers. You rearranged the relationships of everything. So that's what we're trying to do with our Taoist practice, and the emphasis is on soft. That's the direction we got to go. And we know that's true because, let's go ahead back to center. As is said in the Tao Te Ching, it says, that which is soft and supple is life. That which is hard and brittle is death. If you look in nature, you see a stick, hard and brittle, versus a stick that can bend and bow. So that's where sort of the underlying philosophies is take what is stiff and to whatever degree you can, train it in the direction of supple. And so it's all quite logical that, yeah, you got to move slower, right? Because the faster we move, the more you might crack something or skip over something. So we got to move slow, but we also have to be thorough, which often comes in conflict with that. So when we go slowly, usually we sort of don't go all the way. So train your mind, your attention to be present, 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 all the way to the edge, and then all the way to the middle, and all the way to the edge. So the Tao says, Yi Dao, Qi Dao, where your attention, where your Yi, where your mind goes, the Qi follows. So when you put it towards the idea of soft, supple, pliable, loose, then that's the direction your cultivation goes. And then let's come back to middle and go right into the scapular range of motion. Forward and up, back and down, under and forward and up, back and down, under, forward, up, over, back and down. Continue. So when you first learned the scapular movements, maybe they were kind of small, kind of clunky movements, but then hopefully daily practice, regular attendance to it, they get to the point where they're very loose and big in this thorough ability to move the mechanism all the way through its range. Part of that's the material of the body, part of that's just the nerves, the brain. Let's go back and up now, forward and down. So we switch directions. Back, up, forward and down. So we're carving We're turning on the lights inside the brain, nervous system, body relationship by going to each of these mechanisms and just making sure complete, thorough movement, emphasizing softness every time you finish. Going, relax. Now, feet together so the legs are kind of out of the way. Tip forward from the hips. Arms float forward but not up. The important part here is like elastic. Imagine pulling on a rubber band or on elastic. There's this lengthening feeling. So when we go forward, we don't just want to take the hands forward. We want to lengthen and lengthen and lengthen. They call that fang song, softening into length. And then keeping that length as you go around. So you're pulling yourself open and then tip back a little bit and circle the arms in. And then tip forward, the arms swing under through neutral, looser on this round. And because they're looser, you can get even more of that length, that elasticity. And then around and in. Every time we tighten or contract, we shorten and constrict the body. So the Taoist practice of being relaxed, soft, and yet also reaching for the end. Trying to get to that end or that full range all the way around and letting that resolve to neutral. Then we go forward, keep that length, and float up, keeping that length this whole way. Back behind a little, turn the palms forward, slide them down. Remember, neutral, always neutral. Then with even less effort, can you sort of levitate, lengthen, down. So fewer reps done with incredible tension. Just like if you go to the dentist office, it's not how many times they use that scraping tool in the area, it's did they get the stuff out, right? Now let's go up, up, and just however high you can go, possibly above your head, not too far behind you, maybe just a slight amount behind. That's what the mechanisms are built for, right? You can see I'm a little bit back, I'm a little bit open, but I'm not cranking it. And then neutral, so that relaxed position. And then forward, closing in front, coming up, 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 up. And then this opening. Then one more. Neutral, forward, up. Feel that elastic quality all the way to the fingertips. Big open. Down. Neutral. Reverse. So now we go back a little bit, out to the side, but not up. So notice the hands stay very low, but it's that elastic quality. And then stay elastic long all the way through as you come to the front. And then just release back and out, but not up, opening all this space. And then closing that space. Down. Long. And around. Sort of like learning levitation of the body. This long and lift. Forward, down. Open it a little bit, long. And then sliding hands over top, closing, down. One more. Long, and lift, and over, down. Now it's long, lift, keep lifting, over top, close, down, back. The word that just always jumps into my mind with all my private client work and all my work in these classes is the word function. Function. You know, we always think of fitness, wellness, right? These things. But the idea of what really gives quality of life is function, the lack of it or the presence of function. So trying to keep everything functioning. Bend your elbows. Elbows flare out and up. So how does Taoist practice help elbows down and in with function, that we're going to the actual gears and mechanisms of our vehicle and making sure that they have as little residue and rust as possible, making sure the brain has as much lit up as possible. And then elbows back. Feel this opening here in the chest, shoulder. Then down, forward, hands over the shoulders, elbows up, hands kind of down the back. And then elbows forward, down, and back. Then down, forward, up. Forward, down, and back. Down, forward, up. A few more. Function, right? Of course, this movement is functional, pulling a shirt off, itching your back, any number of different functional movements, but really we're focused on the gears themselves, the mechanisms themselves, going, okay, how do we force them, induce them to retain function? So that's what every one of these movements does for us. And out to the side. Now left above, right below, cross and wrap around and hug the torso. Elbows straight out to the side and then switch. Straight out to the side and switch. Straight out, switch. One more. And release. Nice and loose. And then bend your elbows, bring them up at 90 degrees. Turn your palms down, up, down, up. Function. Forearms, how do they function? Total pronation, total supination. Then external rotation of shoulders, scapula kind of glue onto your back here. Your chest opens, and then back to neutral. Then the internal rotation, best led by elbows around, around, around in front. See how I'm really taking the elbow around. That's what induces this shape change. And then elbows in, hands out. And then hands in, elbows out and around. Let the shape change happen. Let the body unfold, open, and get sort of buoyant in the front. And then let there be this hollowing in the front where the back really sort of broadens. And again. And one more. Front hollowing broadens the back. And then open. Step feet wider apart. Go left hand up over top. Close. Now just hold this shape and feel how you got your left groin open. You've got the body side bending a little and twisting a little and closing. So there's a lot happening here. And then come back up and open to the middle. And then up and over, closing, and just hold that shape for a moment. Feel the demand it's placing on the groin, the torso, the mechanism, and then open. Feel it resolve itself. And close. Open. Close. Open. Close. Open. Now, up and over, cross a wrist, turn the palms down, and they fall between the legs and release. And then cross, lift, opening, unfolding. This would be natural. Inhale, right? And I'm exaggerating a little bit this shape. And then when you come over top, you want to have this shape. So you want shape change, this sort of hollow, round shape. And then you want to cross and lift and open. Feel that shape change, that mechanism change, and then close. Shape change. Open. Close. And open. Arms back to neutral. Feet hip distance. Wrists over top, forward. Now let's get the most out of this one by doing this gather, this little monkey paw, gather and roll the wrist. Big roll, right? So you get that full roll and then spread open. Turn, gather, roll, release. So again, the mechanisms wanting to go to their full expression in each direction of opening and closing. Now reverse, come under, over, under, over, turn, under, over, turn. Hands up, spread, gather, spread, gather, spread, gather. Now, spread, claw into a fist. Open, claw to a fist. Open, claw to a fist. Open, and bird beak. Thumb touch pinky, other three fingers touch. Bend the wrist down. Back, down, back, down, back. And then final time, monkey paw. Pinky, ring, middle, little chopsticks with the fingers. So this gather and bend down. And then this fanning. So use this to try to get this fanning quality in and then reverse. In, reverse. Scoot a little bit back on the chair. Let's do our legs. Load, push, load, down, and load, push, load, down, switch, load, push, load, down, switch, load, push. Foot and ankle, straight leg, point, flex, point, flex. A few times. And then tilt the foot a little in, out, and circles, in, around, and out. And out, around, and in. And down. Other leg. Point and flex. Tilt the foot a little in, out, in, and circles. Reverse, circles. And down. Scoot forward. Step your feet a little wider than hip distance. Abbreviated swiveling for the hip rotation. So knees and toes in. Knees and toes out. Knees and toes in. Knees and toes out. Turning from the ball and socket joint in the hips. Separating legs and hips from each other. Now neutral. Now the balls of the feet stay where they are. Now it's the heels in, the knees out. Then the heels out, the knees in. Heels in, knees out. Heels out, knees in. Heels in, knees out. in. And that separation. And then back to neutral, feet hip distance, fold. Sit vertical, tip back. Sit vertical, fold. Sit vertical, tip back. Vertical and fold. And back. And vertical. Hang your arms loose. Slide your feet back just a little bit. Fold at the hips. Pour the weight forward and out of your chair, and then let the weight stay down underneath you as you stand all the way tall. And then hip hinge, fold, sink all the way down. Find your chair with your bottom. Commit to the chair. Feet are empty, and then fold and pour the weight out of the chair. So now the weight goes underneath you, all the way tall. Down. One more time. Now, don't sit in the chair. Hip hinge, sink down. Use this to get near the floor, possibly even touching the floor. And then rise up. And let's add to it this piece here where the pelvis pushes forward. And you see there's this C shape that you can create. And it doesn't have to be too much. You don't want to force your body and impinge anything. But there's this little amount that the body's built to do. Then we have the middle. Then we have this hip hinge and this sink all the way down. And then all the way up. And then this shape here. And one more. And we got neutral. Change your body weight to the right leg. Change your body weight to the left leg. You see on my body, this middle pivot, remember this idea that stillness is not the absence of movement, meaning, in this case, I can be feeling stillness inside because I'm allowing soft, relaxed, easy, free, unimpeded movement as I'm changing leg to leg. And we add the idea of this middle pivot still has that quality. Reach your left hand down, your right wrist floats up. And then change, go into that right leg. Your right arm reaches down. This floats up. And then change. So to the degree that we can have freedom of movement, of the change between legs, of the leaning of the spine, of the reaching of the arms, the one down, one up, and the switch, see if you can move slow enough to feel that underlying stillness throughout. And that still point also produces equilibrium. So even if I'm tipped to the side and then tipped all the way to the other side, I'm experiencing equilibrium, which again is one of the problems seen with just the aging human being, is that we get stuck just in one frame, and then any change to that frame can disrupt equilibrium. So we want to purposefully change, and then change back, and then change again to keep that range of movement free. Now let's go high hand forward, low hand back. Then there's this down with the high hand. This low hand comes up like you're tickling your own armpit. Come up that space. And then that hand goes forward as the other hand comes back. and we're wheeling. This is called left-right wheel. Every time my arm is going down, I'm changing the weight into that leg. So it's the leg of the arm I'm going down on. Change, change. What you will likely experience, especially if you relax first and then move thoroughly, you'll experience these little pops and snap crackles and little feelings of your tissue getting a little bit looser, the little glue spots letting go. So if we move too fast, we'll skip over those. Or if we're stuck using tension to move, then we don't really loosen anything up. We're just gripping the body. So you have to have this subtle but important just drop of that tension and then use the light, loose hydraulics to move. Now reverse. So the high hand tickling the armpit goes down the back as the other hand goes forward and up. Now the high hand comes back as the low hand goes forward, and then the high hand goes down as the low hand comes up. Back and forward simultaneously, and then down and up. Back, forward, down, up. Back, forward, down, up. Back, forward, down, up. People often remark that Qigong and Tai Chi feel like swimming. It's very true. You want to have this feeling of swimming, and a way to think of that is you're actually swimming in your own ocean, in your own hydraulic body. You're swimming. So Marjan, notice what you're doing versus what I'm doing. So you're kind of just going like this, right? And so you're stuck in this range, and what you're missing is the up and the down. And then the back and forward with this still down low. Because it's down low, now there's a big change for your brain and nervous system when you go up and when you go down. And then now that this is up and you bring it back and this is forward but down, right? So it's all about the thorough changing of shape that makes these valuable to us. Right? We don't want to just get stuck in our sort of comfortable space. We got to separate and then separate again. And then down, up, down as the other comes up. And then flatten and press down. And then flatten the top, relax the bottom, press and rise. And then flatten. And this is a really good one for Karen, what I've been talking to you about with your hand last couple of weeks, where you want to actually let it cross that threshold in the fingers, right? So that when you're pressing down, it's not like that. It's got that. And again, you notice this is not crunching anything. It's crossing that threshold on the way down, and then it completely changes on the way up. And this one is flat. And then it's changing. And then change. Yeah. So that thoroughness of attention required to actually change the mechanisms. And then both hands down. Shogun, wing, roll, fold over top, settle to the middle, hands cross, and Tai Chi. Rising hands. Really important here on the rise, this hollow, round, internally rotated shape. Why? So that we can feel the change through the shoulders, the chest, the arms, all the way to the fingers and wrists. And then, as I was just mentioning to Karen, but everyone can think of that, the fingers on the way down, all the way. And then that changes, and then you're on your way up, And then that all changes. There you go, on the way down. And then changes on the way up. And then from the chest and shoulder and everything all the way out to the fingertips, change. Now, same thing, but out to the side. So scooped shape, open, and then that change. Down. Scoop, open, and then that change. Wings. Turn your right palm up, folding at the elbow. That hand comes over top. Sweep the left hand under, high and low. Magnets attract. Repel. Around. Left hand over, right hand under. Attract. Repel. Around. Over and under. Attract. Repel. One more. And then both hands down. Scoop up. Elbows pull back. Chest area open. Turn the hands over. Push. And full extend. Wrap the hand around. Draw. Opening in front, closing the back a little. The scapula back towards each other. And then turn and push. Full extend. Wrap around. Draw. Again. Push. Draw. Now just left hand, turn over and push. That creates this little turning at your middle pivot. Turn left hand to face the body, right hand turns ready to push. Push and draw. Let that turn you through your middle pivot. Simultaneous orientation change of the hands and then push and draw. Orientation change the hands, push, draw. Push and draw. Start to add a little bit of a change leg to leg here. So now, as you push and draw, put the weight into your opposite pushing hand leg, and then switch the hands and then change the weight, turn. Change the hands and then change leg as you push and turn. Change hands and then push and draw. Push and draw. Both hands back, down, and the bear washing paws. So you shift and turn, brush, sweep. Let that elasticity, that pliability going long through the fingertips. This leg is empty, body is turned, and then it's shift and turn and brush, sweep. And it keeps going and going and going, reaching that pliability, elasticity. This left leg should be open, but you still have middle equilibrium, and then shift and turn, brush, sweep. Let them go, 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 go. Elastic, elastic, elastic. And brush and sweep. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Brush and sweep. Now swirl the stream. So now that elastic, the left hand's going far away from the body as this hand is close. So they're separated from each other. And then separated from each other. Separate. They're swirling the stream. The bear swats the low jumping fish. So there's a little bit of a lift and the palm turns forward. So this is right around belly level. Turns over, dips into the water, the other hand rises a little bit. So value here, among other things, is that you want to be able to sense the nuance of change. So it's a little bit lifted, but not all the way lifted. So make sure there, Gail, that this first one here is not going up near chest height. So the hand is at belly level. Why? Because then now we're going to do the chest height. So we want to be able to sense that difference, that precision of movement. Precision. That's that middle jumping fish. And then we can sense that higher jumping fish. So that's right around mouth, face, head level. So this control of all the different levels and nuance of movement. And then we're going, and also one more thing, Gail, notice this. What's happening for you is you're letting this arm totally drop and go all the way over here, and then you're really just doing one arm, right? Where notice here, what my bottom hand is doing is staying here. It's not just swinging over there, it's here because this is brush knee. So this is just as much a movement as this is. And then same thing here, when this arm comes down, you got to keep track of that left hand and shift, turn, brush, swat, right? And keep track of the right hand now. Don't let it get too ahead of you there. Now, brush knee and push. So left hand's dipping into the water, right arm wing, roll, fold. Now it's ready for shift, turn, brush knee down low, push. Then we've got wing, roll, fold as the right hand dips into the water. We still got that elastic quality, and then it's shift and turn and brush and push. And wing, roll, fold. Shift and turn, brush and push. Wing, roll, fold. Brush and push. So you can have done this. I mean, you can imagine how many times I've done brush, knee, and push, right? And yet every time I'm doing it, I'm exploring how am I using this to loosen something up that's stuck, to find a way through and something that's accumulated. Right? So each round, just be using it like a therapeutic tool in a toolkit. Now, pause here, your right foot empty, step it a little behind you, and change the weight into that right leg, right hand down, bend left elbow, fingertips point up, and then your empty foot, left foot, touch the floor out in front, very light, very empty. All right, so this loose quality, you want to feel, even though this is high and this is low, these are both equally empty, this is also empty. And then bring the left foot back, heels touching, toes turned out, and turn left palm forward, right palm in. Then it's change the weight, change the hands, and bring that foot forward. Feel that full, sturdy leg, and then everything else empty, light, free. And then bring that right foot back, heels touching, and change the orientation of the palms. So right palm is forward, left palm in. And then as you change the weight, right hand goes down, left elbow bend, fingers point up, foot forward. Bring that left foot back, turn the palm orientation, and then change. Step the foot back, palm orientation, and change. Now stay here, and to the degree you safely can, take that foot off the ground, possibly fold it all the way up, and then touch the toe back to the floor. Try to not yank on it. Try to empty it and then use the empty quality. Take advantage of that levity that comes with the emptiness. So to the degree you can commit 100% zero, then this has levity. Now, put that foot down and let's switch. Left hand down, right hand up. If you can get that levity, empty, loose quality, then see if you can use that quality. Maybe it's just a little lift, maybe it's more. The moment you start to tip back and endanger yourself, you're going too far. So stay right within your comfort level, lift and lower. Possibly full lift. Now, as you put the foot down, heels touching, turn right palm forward, left palm in, and let's change, possibly going for that partial lift or full lift. Put the foot down, heels touching, toes turn out, palms change, and then lift. Put the foot down, palm orientation change. Rooster. Foot down, orientation change. Foot down, orientation change. One more. And then wash your paws. Loose, drop everything out, all the residue out of the body. Now, stay in your right leg. Left hand, sweep lake, turns to vapor, rises up. Cloud, lake, shift, turn. Cloud, lake. Then right hand floats up, left hand rains down, and shift, turn. Cloud, lake. Vapor and rain. Shift, turn, cloud, lake. Now with the vapor and rain, right foot comes in and out without any weight going into it. Shift and turn. Then the hands change. Bring that left foot in and out. Shift and turn. As the hands change, right foot comes in, out. Shift and turn. In, out. Now, shift and turn. Bring the right foot in, keep it in. Hands change. Shift the weight to the right leg where it is. This is one of the things we work on in the Monday class, this change of weight. Turn, 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 turn. Now the left foot should be empty, so as your hands change, step your left foot out. So we're traveling across the room to the left now. Change your weight to the left leg. Turn. All the weight's in your left leg. Change your hands. Bring your right foot in. Keep your right foot in. And then from your middle pivot, just change the weight down your close stance right leg. So it goes into the right leg, and then you turn, 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 turn from your middle pivot, right? This little rotational place. And then the hands loose float across. They change, rain and vapor. Step that left foot out. Then it's shift. Turn from that middle pivot, turning, 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 turning. The hands exchange places. Bring the right foot in. Keep the right foot in. Put the weight into the right leg first, then turn from your middle pivot. Hands across, 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 across. They change low to high, high to low. One more time this side. Stepping out, shift and turn. Hands change. Bringing right foot in, then right foot out. Shift and turn. Hands exchange, bring left foot in. Shift and turn. The weight is in that left leg. Hands changing. Step out without any weight change, right? You see that empty step. Then it's shift, turn, cloud, lake. As the hands change, that left foot is empty, it can step in. It's close, change the weight to the left leg. So this is where it's a little tricky to just change into this leg now. Turn, 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 turn. Let the hands flow through that elastic quality. Step without the weight going, and then shift. So it's all training this middle pivot with all this change, right? Everything's changing. What was full is empty, what's empty is full, and then it changes back. What was high is low, and low is high, and then it changes again. What was left was right, and what was right was left. So we're all this change happening, but what it cultivates is a sense of stillness inside and freedom of movement. And then settle back. Now, if you're off-centered in the room, just take a couple of steps, get back to the middle, and let's find right hand behind the back, left hand low, change the weight to the right leg and turn a little bit. Now, the throwing of that frisbee kind of movement, so the hand goes forward, and then as you shift and turn, there's an upward flying diagonal direction. Turn the right palm out, crane wing, lake sweep, bottom of ball. And then tossing forward, shift and turn, a flying diagonal up. Turn the palm out, wing, lake, ball, and then flying diagonal. Turn palm out, wing, lake. One more time. This unique path. And put that left arm behind your back, right arm out. Sweep it and bottom of ball. Now it's this sort of forward toss direction that starts, but then you shift and turn. Turn the palm out, crane wing, and lake sweep and bottom of ball, and then it's this toss. Turn the palm out, down, turn, bottom of ball. All the weight's in one leg, then changes so it's all in the other leg, and then it changes so it's all back in the other leg. We're turned one way, and then we're turned the other way. Back. And then wash your paws, both arms. Settle. Left hand under, right hand over. So just get this stroking wild horse's mane movement, and then put that same movement on the diagonal so that this goes here, but this goes there from high to low. So that's just another additional challenge for the brain. Now turn both palms, one out, one up, embrace the moon. Shift to the right leg, turn to the right. Feel how this is sort of winding up and gathering and storing. And then you issue the movement as you shift and turn, stroking wild horse's mane. Turn the palms, left palm out, right palm up. What was low is high, goes high. What's high is low. What was left goes right. What's right goes left. Gather. And then this stroking wild horse's mane. And then around. And one more. Right hand goes out, over. Left hand turns. We go wash, wash, settle. Right hand under, left hand over. One time on parallel. stroke wild horse mane, and back. And then do that on its diagonal all the way. Turn right palm out, left palm up, embracing moon. Right hand low, left hand high. Shift to that left leg, turn, gathering, winding up, and then shift and turn that flying diagonal movement. Remember, if you're the first person there, you lose, right? The goal is this gradual, so we're going slowly enough to track all the moving parts. So go slowly here to track all the moving parts. It forces the brain and body and nervous system connection there into a specific relationship. Shift and turn. Sort of a meditative, calm relationship. Also cultivates freedom of movement in all the directions through and around the middle. Shift and turn. Now stay in the right leg, sweep that left hand under, fold the right hand over, and then we go back the other way. Shift, turn, stroke wild horse's mane. Stay in your left leg, turn a little bit more so you feel this spooling from here, this turn and how that winds everything into this position. Right hand under, left hand over, and turn more to your left. And then you're wound up, ready to shift and turn. And then this open state, then from our middle, we can sort of spool and wind up and wrap and gather. And then we're ready to, from that spooled position, to issue. There's a sort of relax to take any tension out, and then a spooling gathering. And then one more each side. Gathering, 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 gathering. Stay in your right leg, turn more to your right when you do this. More. And Karen, notice your right hand, look where mine is, and yours is out here. In. Right? And in, but not jammed in. So that requires space, space, space to make this shape and not have it feel stuck. We got to open space, but yet not be reaching out here. So find this close position, but yet feel space. And then we shift, turn, and then this sweeping under, folding over, this spooling, turning, gathering, and then one more ball. And then right hand out, left hand turn, wash, wash, settle. And then finish with the Sync Chi Wash organs, which is a little bit into the heels, open and lift. Little bit into the toes, sweep around, closing in front, palms face up. A little bit into the heels, bringing in and settle to the middle of the feet, hands settle to the belly. Then the hips go back like our squat that we were working on. At the same time, the elbows flare around to the front, a little hollowing the front like we worked on in the chair. And then this sinking of the booty and releasing of the arms. Let them go. Then just push through the earth, rising back to standing. And then take a moment where you settle and let anything that can go down back to the earth, back to the earth. So let go of those shoulders, Gail. Notice how you're holding your shoulders up. Drop them. Drop them. And then rock to the heels a little, open and lift. Rock to the toes a little, sweep around, closing. Rock to the heels, and Karen, remember palms up, yeah? So it's this spiral, yeah. And then there's this in, and because they're in this shape, then when we go down, these are starting to internally rotate. And then as you continue into this shape, the back splays open and we sink through, and the back has this bowing quality, this broadening bowing quality, and then rise up. And again, that doesn't mean we're walking around all day like this, but it's just saying the back needs to be able to bow, and then we come back up and settle and relax, and it's more able to just stay where it is. And Gail, once again, it just looks as though you're doing this. It looks like you continue to pull instead of drop. And then keep that dropped sensation as you do this final one. So that's what Tai Chi starts to feel like, is that you are in the dropped, let go state, and yet you can still operate the vehicle. Hollow through. Push through the earth, back to standing. And then we close, wing, roll, fold, sink to the belly, settle. Feel a moment of, by doing nothing, something specific happens. Right? By doing nothing, all that titillated, scintillated energy and attention and activity in your body goes, oh, we're not doing anything. And it settles naturally like water settles in a reservoir. But you have to also quiet the mental, emotional turbulence that we all suffer from, right? And so that training, let's do that one more time, this sink chi to the belly, this closing. So this gesture of taking all that activity in the mental, emotional layer and saying, well, put it to bed, let it go down, let it go to sleep. Right? Because a lot of times all that's doing is acting like wildfire in the system versus this settled, consolidated state that makes us more potent, more functional. And then we close by sealing right over the navel, center of palm over, center of other palm over the back of the center of that palm. And then this hand gesture. Thank you, everybody. Great job. If there are any thoughts or questions, feel free. Put it into practice. That's the main important thing, that everything is Tai Chi. Every single thing you do. Me picking this up is Tai Chi. Me stepping around it, I've changed my weight. Then I'm settled through the legs. Then I fold. Then I sink. Then I softly float my hand up. And right, there's Tai Chi throughout.